Howdy folks, thanks for checking out our video today on a successful PVC patch project. There's a lot of things that go into a PVC patch project. I wanted to go over a few of them today so you can be thinking about them before you even get too deep into your project. The first thing that we need for PVC is time. For a PVC patch, we make a physical mold of your design based off of production-ready artwork. Producing the molds, producing the patches, and shipping them all takes time, so we want to make sure we have enough of that. Once we do have a finalized production-ready proof and we start making the mold, from that point we're typically looking at about 2.5 to 3.5 weeks for production itself. Shipping can be anywhere from about 4 days to about 2 weeks, depending upon the shipping method that you choose. So on average, we're looking anywhere from about 3 weeks to 5 weeks. If you're needing patches quicker than that, always feel free to ask us. We'll do our best, but 3 to 5 weeks gives you a good general time frame for that. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about is artwork. We make the design off of your art proof. So there's a few different things for you to be thinking about that'll help kind of prepare you for what will have to happen to your design. First and foremost, if you have a vector file, that can be wonderful. It makes it so much easier. Vector files are graphic design files. They're typically listed as .ai, .eps, .svg, and sometimes .pdf. If you don't have a vector file, we can work with a non-vector file. Just please know it does add a little bit of time to the process, and we can't match colors 100% without you either having a vector file or you knowing the colors that were used in your design. Next thing I wanted to talk to you about with artwork is scalability. I can't tell you how often I get a quote request and the artwork is 15 inches across my screen and the customer wants to do a 3-inch patch. I always say, shrink your design down to the size you want to make this patch and tell me what you see. If you can't see it, you can't make it. So make sure that any text is still legible, any small details are still defined. And we can definitely make those revisions for you if needed, but it's good for you to at least know what you're getting into. The next thing with artwork is colors. Again, going back to the process, we make a physical mold of your design. In that physical mold, each area of color will have its own part of the mold, and we can only fill each part of the mold with one solid color. So if you have a design that, say, for instance, has a sky that is a sunset sky and it starts off in red and then goes to orange and then yellow, it would be more segmented. Kind of like this dust off patch right here. If you do have a lot of color gradient, we can always pick a color from that gradient and say this area will be this color, but just note we cannot do color gradients in PVC, so colors do need to be solid. Next thing I wanted to talk to you about is the size of the patch. So for you to be able to determine what size patch you're wanting to do, it kind of depends upon what you're going to be putting these on. For instance, hats. General rule of thumb is no larger than 2.5 inches tall. Certain hats have a higher front profile, so you can absolutely do a larger patch. But if you don't know what hat you're going to be using, I'd recommend staying under 2.5 inches. If they're going on a shoulder or a chest, you can go much larger. A good rule of thumb for you to kind of figure out the sizing is if you're torn between, say, a 3-inch rectangle and a 4-inch rectangle. Cut out a 3-inch rectangle of piece of paper, cut out a 4-inch rectangle piece of paper, and then stick it on whatever you're wanting to put these on. That'll give you a much better frame of reference than just going, I think it's 3 inches. One of the worst things that can happen is if you're not sure of the size, we go through the whole project, you get them and go, they look great, but they're way bigger or way smaller than I need them to be. Unfortunately, that's not much we can do about that. So be thinking about the size and the application that you're wanting to be using them for. The last thing that you have to be kind of concerned with when you're talking about a PVC project is the end use and the application of what you're going to be doing with these patches. So for PVC patches, we have 4 main backing types, and that's going to be kind of dependent upon what you're going to be using them for. We have no backing, we have adhesive backing, we have iron-on backing, or we have hook and loop backing. A really good way for you to determine which you'll want to do is reach out to the person that's going to be attaching these and ask them, do you require adhesive backing or are you fine with no backing? As you can tell, there's a lot to discuss. So having these concepts in mind before you even start can really help kind of hone in where you want to go with this. But if you're not sure, by all means, feel free to call, email, put in a quote request, and we'll help guide you through this process. I hope this helped you a lot. Look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much. Have a great day.